You are now entering the world of Musings of a Geek podcast network. Stay geeky, my friends.
On 14.
Hello, everybody. This is 40 going on 14, and I am Mike.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Josh. And I was pleased to learn that the Tonight Show has a succession order, kind of like the British royal family. And I'm about 5,000th in line. And I plan to raise my way to the top through a series of assassinations and double crossings. But I'm pretty sure Amy Schumer could take me. Oh, well.
But does she want you?
I'd still get the job before Letterman.
Ooh.
And well, Chris Rock, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I am a white guy.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was awesome. That he's just happy to see more white guys on late night TV.
Oh, good to know. If you haven't picked up on that, our show this week is late night TV.
Yeah, Craig.
So we're going. We're going to chat about the beginning. Talk about Jack Parr, and we're going to go all the way to whoever the hell James Corden is. I don't know if any of us watched that. I don't know.
Commissioner Gordon.
I watched some of his stuff, but I haven't watched the show.
Commissioner Gordon, his talk show. It's really interesting. It's great until halfway through the show where he gets kidnapped. All right, so late night talk show. That's the topic.
You know where you can find talk shows at any time of day or night.
I see what you did there.
Where, Josh?
On the Musings of a Geek podcast network.
That sounds interesting. Tell me more.
Oh, you can find such shows as the Pittsburgh Nerd Pod, the Arkham Social Hour, Graphic Novice, Sad Robot Radio, Culture Babble, Outlandish Conversations, Green Up, and Dark Angels and Pretty Freaks.
But what about a sports podcast?
You could find the Left Field Sports Lounge, but if you've been following our advice for the last 6 months, you've been listening to the same episode over and over again because that's the last time they updated.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
I keep listening to hope there's some sort of like switch up that I haven't heard yet. They're going to like do the entirely the same show, and then halfway through, they change it up. That joke sounded a lot better in my head.
I have no idea what you were talking about.
I disagree that was even a joke.
I do too. So
if you'd like to hear Mike fumble at other jokes, you can find our archives at iTunes, Blueberry, Stitcher, or TalkShoe.
Yes.
Other fine podcasting directories.
And if you want to call us and leave us a message about your opinion on the previous show or suggestions for shows that we may do in the future, please call us at 708-NOW-RAP. That's 708-669-9727. And you can also get us at 40go14.com. And, at 40go4, what am I talking? 40go14 at gmail.com. The at confused me for a second. At 40go14 at Twitter, and then on Facebook, just look up 40 going on 14.
But what if I'm at home on Saturday at noon?
Well,
usually that's when I'm parasailing.
I'm bungee jumping.
That's where Mike found himself in fucking Bed Bath & Beyond last week.
That's close.
Though I made the best of it. Because they have these displays for these speakers and stuff. You know, the kind of chintzy plastic speakers that you're supposed to put in your house, and you can Bluetooth in and play your music from wherever. Well, I tested to see how far they would go and how loud the speakers were. So the biggest one that was up there had a Bluetooth connection on it. So I turned up all the volume on it, hooked up my phone to it, and then walked like 50 feet away to the other side of the store. And Katie would signal me when she saw somebody walking by there, and I would hit play on my phone. And
Please tell me it was New Pussycat.
And what did you hit play with, Michael?
It was Uptown Funk. Because that's what I had on my phone at the time. And
it was Saturday at noon. What did you hit play with, Mike?
I know what you're doing, Josh.
I hit play to put on our show because it was at noon on Saturday. On whatever it was that's supposed to be written right
Geek
there.
Life Radio.
Geek Life Radio.
Oh, my Jesus.
We're sorry, Geek Life Radio. We really do love you.
We do love you, Geek Life Radio. I was having a seizure.
First time on the riverboat, Mr. Maverick?
That's my line.
Holy shit.
Oh my God, is it about that time?
Yes, it is.
Somebody should really explain to Mike how this stuff works.
Fuck you. Just for that, where to go?
This year, music, movies, TV,
And sports. Yay.
Wow, we haven't heard that one in a while.
I know. I forgot about that one. Completely did.
The
So,
Josh Step remix.
but no, either way, I actually was doing that, and it was awesome because we had one of the younger crew members there was trying to figure out how the hell to turn everything off, and she would like turn a knob, and I'd pause it, and then she'd walk away, and the second she got 2 steps away, I'd start playing it again. She'd run back there to try and turn it off,
Nice.
and we didn't get kicked out.
So this weekend, we're looking at May 22nd, 1992, which would have been the day Johnny Carson did his last show.
Yes. So the last show of Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show.
Who was his last guest ever?
Raul Julia.
Jay Leno.
Nope.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Nope.
Jason Voorhees.
Nope.
That
It was
would
a
be
female.
Jason Voorhees.
It was Bette Midler.
Really?
Oh, I should have guessed that.
Did she sing Wind Beneath My Wings?
She sang something to him. I can't remember what.
I think it was Wind Beneath My Wings.
Yeah,
What else could it have been in 1992?
exactly.
Right. So, music in 1992, the number one song in the land is Jump by Criss Cross in the middle of a 2-month run. The backwards clothes-wearing duo is knocked off the throne by Mariah Carey's cover of I'll Be There.
Just call my name.
Wow.
I'll
Yeah.
be there.
That was more of a lateral move, in my opinion.
I just got this image of like Criss Cross both sitting together on a toilet and being like checked off it by Mariah Carey.
See, I didn't go there at all.
Yeah.
Dark Secret?
Wait, who doesn't like Mariah Carey's version of I'll Be There?
I don't.
I don't think I care for it much. I'm not a huge Mariah Carey fan, though.
What?
Yeah, me either.
I don't have a
Shut your
problem with her.
mouth.
Now, Dark Secret, somewhere out there. Do you remember going to
Skeksis.
Six Flags? And they used to have those recording studio things?
Yes.
Somewhere out there, you know where this is going, is a recording and me and one of my buddies doing Jump.
Oh, I was hoping it was going to be you and Matthew.
No, it was one of my friends doing Jump and Signs on the other side. And the good news is that back then everything came on. What?
Were you doing I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base?
No, Signs.
Okay, because that reminds Joel of a story about Oswego. And
No, don't start that shit again.
We're not going back there, dude. Come
No.
on.
Although even though
That's
I wasn't a Mariah Carey fan, I am a fan of her song "Heartbreaker." That's my guilty Mariah Carey pleasure.
I like most of Mariah Carey's music. She's got pipes.
So
Well, I've talked about how there's 2 cassettes out there of me in one of those recording studios when I was like 10 or 12.
yeah, but that's you
doing-
masturbating. Nobody wanted to hear that.
No, Theme from the Monkees, California Girls. What was that? Someday by Glass Tiger, and I forget the other song, but
Jesus Christ, Glass
They're,
Tiger.
it was before I hit puberty. So if you can
The
imagine,
other song was OPP.
no, I did not do OP. I did F the Police actually,
Nice.
right after California Girls.
So,
Yes.
also in music, Weird Al Yankovic begins his Dun 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 Acronym of the Week tour on May 26th. OTDE.
That would be Otis the Dick Emperor. It's a little known character he did.
I thought that was
That's
an
the sequel to
anime.
Milo and Otis.
Now, is he an emperor that's a dick, or is he emperor over all the dicks?
I believe he is an emperor of a kingdom of dicks.
Tick 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 tick.
How many dicks is that?
A lot.
A lot.
And also in Guinness World Record is made as rap singer Tongue Twista raps 597 syllables in 55.12 seconds.
I've never heard Twista referred to as Tongue Twista. Just interesting. Like, I'm familiar with him, and he raps fast.
Oh, well, that was what the internet search turned up for me. I've never heard of him before.
He's no Watsky, but he is fast.
Okay, so now movies. Joel, I want you to read the first one.
The top movie is Lethal Weapon 3. Okay.
Is that Jerry Lee Lewis?
No, dummy, that was Woody Allen.
Oh.
Jeez.
I hated Lethal Weapon 3.
Why?
It was fucking annoying. That's why.
Joe Pesci just annoyed me.
Yeah, that was a very annoying character.
He was annoyed by you, too.
And speaking of
That
it,
should have been a one-movie character, and it would have been a lot less annoying.
Yeah.
He made it through 3 movies, didn't he?
yeah.
I don't think he was in the first one, or was he in like 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
There was only 4 movies, dudes.
What?
Was he in 2?
There was Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, and 4. There was no 5.
Then what
well,
the hell did I watch? Far and Away, Alien 3, and Encino Man are all released on May 22nd of 1992 because, as you can tell, our taste was just through the roof at this point.
Buddy.
Alien 3 pissed me off beyond all belief because let's take 3 characters that we have an intense emotional attachment to in Aliens and just kill them.
Yeah, just kill them off in a shitty way in the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
Off screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Off screen.
You know all those people that you loved and fought and watched fight for their lives? Oh, yeah, they're dead now.
Yeah, we didn't tell you about that? No, sorry. Okay. In the meantime, Amy Fisher shoots Mary Jo Buttafuoco in the face in Massapequa.
Massapequa.
That's Pequot.
Massapequa is just down the road from Massapequa.
Okay. Long Island, sparking a litany of the first wave of made-for-TV movies about real-life crime drama.
And celebrity porn. Joy Buttafuoco.
Didn't he get his
And
dong?
a picture.
Didn't he get his dong cut off?
Actress now.
No, that was John Bobbitt.
Oh, okay.
Didn't
The
Buttafuoco- maybe I was
stories
thinking
were
of John
around the
Bobbitt.
same time.
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe I'm thinking of Bobbitt.
Knock,
Bob
knock.
made a porno and Amy Fisher made a porno. I don't think Joey Buttafuoco made it.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore played Amy Fisher, though, in the made-for-television movie.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Bang!
Okay.
Amy
Okay.
Fisher.
Okay.
We were a real high-class group out there in 92. TV, the top shows are 60 Minutes, Roseanne, Murphy Brown, and Cheers. Wow. And then Jay Leno picks up hosting duties on May 25th as The Tonight Show with Jay Leno premieres.
Which sounded like a good idea at the time.
Well, they initially just signed on his chin. But there was a rider within there that said the rest of them had to come along, too.
It made them a big hit in Middle America, and they made a shit ton of money, so it wasn't an awful deal.
That's fair.
And
It was an exercise in mediocrity, but it definitely made them a lot of money.
Yeah.
U.S. VP Dan Quayle opens his mouth and once again shoves his foot squarely in it by attacking Murphy Brown for being a single mother and as a poor example of family values. Thanks, Dan, for keeping up the reputation.
Spell potatoes.
In sports, the 38th Mazda LPGA Championship is won by Betsy King on May 17th. There you go.
There's more.
On May 22nd in New Jersey, 13 California Angels players and managers are injured as one of the 2 buses the team was riding in drove off-road and into an orchard in the early morning hours.
That was near Massapequa, huh? Or was that near the other place?
Massapequa.
Yes,
That
thank
too.
you. I couldn't even say it right. She helped Lewis and Clark, didn't she?
What the hell, Joel? You've been like funny the last couple shows.
Massapequa is actually Algonquin Indian for let us all come together at the orchard.
Bang.
So late night talk shows.
The explosion is back for a 3rd week?
Yeah.
Whoa. That's a lot of mileage out of that joke.
Oh,
Well, there was a lot of gasoline came out of that guitar, so...
Okay.
So way back then, early television variety shows. We had late night talk shows as our topics. We watched a bunch of the old ones, watched a bunch of the new ones. I watched some of the old school black and white ones.
Aren't they awesome?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. Included the Ed Sullivan Show, originally known as Toast of the Town, aired on CBS Sunday nights from 1948 to 1971.
Wow. That's a run.
It was really big.
And it's so crazy. Like if you watch Ed Sullivan, there's absolutely no way that this guy would be on television nowadays.
He'd be selling insurance.
Yeah. And he was like the paragon of entertainment back then.
It's a really big shoe. Really big.
And then there also was the Texaco Star Theater, hosted by everybody's favorite uncle, Milton Berle.
Yay.
Which aired on NBC from 48 to 56. And then Jack Parr had The Tonight Show from 1957 to 1962 after replacing Steve Allen, who I think
Oh, good.
damn funny.
Steve Allen is hysterical.
Steve Allen is a riot.
Both of those guys are very entertaining and deserve that spot.
Jack Parr is a much better interviewer, or was a much better interviewer, but Steve Allen is just very talented.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that Jack Parr was the first of the talk show hosts to have the full package. Like, he was a great interviewer. He was funny. Honestly, all late night TV was like different after he appeared on the scene.
Yeah.
I think everybody like followed the pattern that he initially established.
Well, he was the first one to understand that, make your guests the focal point instead of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's funny, and they had like you said, Josh, he was really good at directing the attention to the guests. He was funny, but he wasn't funnier than the person sitting on the couch next to him when he needed to be.
That's true. Like, he does put a spotlight, and we'll talk about one of the current talk show hosts. That is a true strength of his as well, making the guest look good.
Yep. So, longtime guest host Johnny Carson took over The Tonight Show in 1962. And the show was renamed The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Ed McMahon served as Carson's announcer from 62 to 66. The band was led by Skitch Henderson, who hired, among others, Doc Severinsen. When Henderson left, Milton DeLugg took over. Severinsen took over in 67 and served as band leader with the NBC Orchestra. The show originated from NBC studios in New York, but part of Carson's shifting the show towards more entertainment-oriented, it moved to Burbank, California in 72. And then he went from 1962 to when? To when? 1992. 30 years, man. That is a hell of a run.
And he was brutal when if someone was not being entertaining on the show, like he was in some ways the opposite of Jack Parr. Like, he would keep the interview going so long as it was entertaining, but he would like cut them short. He would not laugh at their jokes if they weren't funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, and he, I think because of that, that's why his show was so good. Is because nobody would want to sit there and listen to somebody. You don't want to sit there and watch the show and watch somebody crash and burn. And he did it for them and him.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm saying he did it for his show and for them, because if he cuts them off, they're not going to make an ass of themselves on TV trying to save themselves from whatever hole they dug themselves into. So he cuts them off and they go on to the next segment. So that way, that's at least, they were okay. It's not that, they kept rambling on. So
What were we going to say, Pat?
Oh, no, I was going to say he was well known for basically having the attitude is, you're not going to come into my house and shit on my furniture. It's like, you bring your A game if you're coming in. I'm not going to support anything less than that. And that's why, like, everybody in Hollywood knew, like, if you went on Carson and you got his approval, that meant something. I mean, he made and broke careers on that show, just because if a stand-up comedian went on the show and he laughed at them, then, that was like giving them the thumbs up. And if he invited them over to the couch, then they were like in the club.
Yeah. That was a litmus test, as it were.
Yeah.
One of the more famous bits was he was notorious for not socializing with his guests outside of their time on the couch, and everybody was shocked when he visited Orson Welles' dressing room to say hello before the show.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of shocking on one side, but then again, it's Orson fucking Welles.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing, is like, that shows how difficult, what it took to impress Johnny Carson was that the employees of The Tonight Show were surprised that he bothered to, like, socialize with Orson Welles.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny. I don't know what that was, but
I don't know either.
He found the third impression that he can do.
The worst Citizen Kane ever.
Is that Citizen Kane? I thought you were about to tell us.
Never mind, scratch that.
I thought he was about to ask who lives in a pineapple under the sea.
Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? No, I just remembered growing up, Carson was. Like, if I was sick or it was a weekend and there was nothing going on, I mean, watching Carson was always something on my to-do list. I mean, there wasn't that many channels, but I always enjoyed watching it, and it just got a soft spot in my heart for Johnny Carson. I think all of us kind of grew up with him.
Yeah.
And we kind of saw a different side of celebrity because of it, because all we saw was the TV shows and the movies. We never got to see the real people behind it, because the magazines and the oversaturation with the entertainment media and everything wasn't out there. So that was our only access, and it was kind of unique, and he did it in a way that was very entertaining.
You know what else I liked is when some actors and actresses, specifically actresses, knew when they could screw with Johnny. Now, Pat or Josh can help me out on this. Who was the one who flashed Johnny Carson?
Yeah.
No,
that was David Letterman, though.
No, somebody flashed Johnny Carson. It was back in the black and white days.
Yeah, it was really early. I can remember vaguely it being played on one of the best of clips with like the axe thrower.
Yeah, and it was like
I didn't even know you were Jewish.
Yeah.
It's where he comes over. She walks past his. She comes out from behind the curtains, walks past his desk, turns, opens her coat, closes it, and all you hear is Johnny over the microphone.
Oh, Madonna.
No, it wasn't Madonna.
No, I just looked it up on Google.
I'm looking it up too, trying to see if I could find the one you're talking about also. But
she's the only one that said. I looked up Johnny Carson flashed. That's the only one that came up.
So I don't know, it seems to me like it was a long time ago.
Well, I mean that was a long time ago, I suppose. But
but I know it was her that walked by and did that, because I swear it was a black and white. So anyway, but how that sort of thing, like, and the other thing that I watched some of the old school Johnny Carsons, and the one with Frank Sinatra and Hockey Puck. I just lost his name. You Hockey Puck.
Don Rickles?
Don Rickles and Sinatra. When Don Rickles kisses Sinatra full on the mouth in the show, and you can see in Carson's face, he's like, I can't stop any of this. This is gonna go where it's gonna go, and Don Rickles may be dead by the night is out, because this is back in like 1974 when Sinatra was the gold chains and shirt unbuttoned down to his navel type.
One of my favorite things about Carson was when he laughed at his own stuff. Because there was something very charming and endearing about that, especially when he did like the Karnak bit, and he would laugh at his own jokes, or if they weren't funny, he would acknowledge it. And I think it was almost more entertaining when the joke bombed or
Yeah, I've told you time and again that I think that's your Carson qualities. You're funnier when your jokes fall apart.
Well, and seeing his reaction was always just priceless, and I always look forward to when that happened. Kind of like, David Letterman did something sort of similar with the top 10 list, but Carson did it best, I think. So thank you, Pat.
You're as good as Carson as his worst.
Right. That's pretty good still.
That's better than a hell of a lot of people out there right now. So
yeah. Okay,
Mike, how about was it Shelley Winters you're thinking of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shelley Winters.
She was wearing a fur coat and nothing else, and
nothing else. Yeah, and all
go.
you hear is Johnny Carson go, "Please, Shelley, don't do this." It was just like at that point, his whole career flashed before his eyes, and he's just like, "Oh, for the love of God!" This kid. So
it's Shelley Winters.
And one of my big memories of Carson comes down to 3 words: Dr. Joyce Brothers.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, she was on the show all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were always entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you wouldn't have thought that like a pop psychologist would have been like one of the best parts of late night talk TV show, but she really was.
It's just because she's this like 4'8" woman who's talking about sex in a very frank manner and just is very, very charismatic to watch. And that accent. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of
Dr. Ruth.
Oh,
you're thinking of Dr. Ruth
too.
Dr. Joyce Brothers was just a psychologist, and she was
That's right.
Yeah. Also,
Sorry,
just very entertaining, though.
I'm glad you spoke out of that, because I was getting really confused about what I watched.
Sorry, I just got back from Oswego, and I was really just confused.
And boy, are his arms tired.
Ace of Base, just, I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't fly there. He walked there on his hands.
Yeah.
All right. So are we ready to move on from Carson? I mean, I don't want to, but
yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the stuff that popped up in the 80s. Some of the other bigger shows back then was the Merv Griffin show, which I don't think I've even seen too many. I haven't seen enough segments to consist of a whole show in my lifetime.
But when you're Merv Griffin, though, you just get to say, like, I'm going to have a talk show and nobody's going to stop you.
That's true.
Yeah, that's certainly a thing.
And then the Dick Cavett show, which is another one that I was astounded to see that the guy from Beetlejuice was in.
Yeah, the Dick Cavett show like moved all around different time slots and different networks. Like it started on ABC in the daytime, then they moved it to night, then to late night, then over to CBS in like 75. He had a show pretty consistently from like 1968 to like 1996. And then he had another show back 2006 to 2007.
Yep. Which
he was kind of like that generation's Craig Ferguson, like just kind of always on the second tier and always a good interviewer and just entertaining, but never for some reason just caught on with the general public.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit weirder than you expected him to be. So
true,
yeah. But so then we kick up into the 80s when we have the Arsenio Hall Show. Started in January 3rd, 1989, and ran till 1994. And
yeah, that definitely is a hallmark of those years, like the early 90s Arsenio. It's actually one of the things that I thought was dated the movie Aladdin when Genie busts into an Arsenio impression.
Oh, yeah.
At the time, I was like, no one's going to know who this guy was in 20 years. I guess I was wrong.
Well, and then also, beginning of Animaniacs, you have Bill Clinton playing the sax. That happened on Arsenio Hall, and he showed up a lot also, so...
True story.
Yeah, and this would have been the time when I think all of us, at least for a couple years, were in high school. So this was big for us for nighttime talk shows.
Yeah.
For me, it was the first one that I could, for its entire run, like stay up to watch all of it.
I mean, it's like after Letterman came in and kind of took the younger crowd from Carson, then Arsenio came in and took the younger crowd from Letterman. And he was young and hip, and I don't know what it was about that show, but it was darn entertaining.
I think it was just the right time for it. I mean, at the time, you had young MC and MC Hammer making that kind of like rap hip hop thing accessible just as mainstream pop music. So I think people were ready for a black host who was tuned into that whole style of entertainment. And just a couple of years after Arsenio, I think, maybe even within a year in Living Color, was once again, you got a variety show to rival Saturday Night Live, following the same pattern.
We're all looking up when In Living Color started. I heard some other tap in 1990. Yeah.
Okay, so right at that same time.
It was a hip hop talk show. Basically, it had that kind of flavor to it, but it was accessible to anyone. So I think your analogy is very spot on.
Yeah, definitely more the MC Hammer of talk shows rather than something. The world was not ready for like the Public Enemy of talk shows. That would not have flown.
That would have been interesting. So, but yeah, some of the other ones that were around then, we had, early years of David Letterman, which is interesting because he just quit, was it like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's got to be almost exactly 2 weeks ago now.
Yep. So he drops out. I never really watched Letterman too much in late night. I mean, it's he wasn't one of the shows that I watched, but there's also Jay Leno and his chin took over the Tonight Show after 92. Now, what did you guys think of the transition?
Well, I don't want to completely steamroll over Letterman because I don't know if anybody else watched him. I know I did.
Oh, sorry.
I remember one of my favorite things about his bits is he had a very different style of playing off when a joke went well or went poorly. I remember he had the fake window scene behind him with New York in the background, and he'd throw stuff behind him and there'd be a fake glass crash.
Yep, and his pencils.
Yep.
And
for me, I mean, I used to watch it a lot. Me and Matt Massey, we used to always talk about Letterman and watch Letterman, and he always seemed like our kind of humor, I guess. You know, he kind of was more in tune with what we thought was funny, and the guests he had on were more people that we were interested in. I mean, we talked about, and I sent you the link earlier, and Josh, had mentioned that every time Crispin Glover came on, it was a train wreck, but it was a beautiful thing to watch. And he had a lot of people on like that. And all of his musical acts were always, even today up till he retired. I mean, all of his musical acts were the latest and greatest thing, even before they hit big. And he seemed to have his finger on the pulse of, what was going on with, even when he got older, with the younger generation. And like I said, his timing, everything about him was a little different, but it worked.
Yeah. Do you remember Stupid Human Tricks?
Yeah.
Yes. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I will actually watch more than I expected.
One of my favorite bits when he was doing Stupid Human Tricks is they got access to like an industrial press, and they just started crushing stuff. And when they put a canned ham sealed in that press, and it just oozed out the side, it looked like they'd put a human head in there. and just everywhere. I could just, the image of it is still vivid in my memory.
Well, and then he used to go like to the convenience store that was just downstairs from the studio, and he would interview the guy there, and he did stuff outside of the studio, not just inside. And he had this whole running cast and crew of people that I think actually worked there, but that became celebrities on their own because he left the actual stage, which was kind of unusual. And he'd go in the hall, or he'd go do other things outside, and or he'd have other people do it. And then his top 10 list, of course, are notorious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, what Letterman did was he had a talk show that looked like a talk show, but it didn't behave like a talk show. It's like, everybody got this idea of what a talk show was in their head because Johnny Carson had been doing it so long and so well. And then he just kind of came around and said, well, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to change everything up just a tiny little bit and fuck with all your heads. Which
talk show was his name from Saturday Night Live on the
Chevy Chase? The Chevy Chase show?
Not Chevy Chase. The one who everyone thinks he faked his own death.
Oh, Andy Kaufman?
Yeah. Was he on Letterman when he got beat up by the wrestler?
Yeah, that was Letterman.
Okay.
You sure? I thought that was somebody obscure. Like it might have even been Dick Cavett.
It might have been, but in the movie they did it on Letterman.
Okay, then I'm probably just remembering it wrong.
Jerry Lawler slaps Andy Kaufman on David Letterman.
Okay, yeah.
Was Andy Kaufman beaten up the wrestler? Yeah, it looks like it's Letterman.
So at that, what was the thing that I remembered? Oh, that his pencils in the cup.
Yes.
You know how he's always chucking the pencils around? Had erasers at both ends.
Huh.
So that way, in case he chucked one out in the audience, you couldn't really get too hurt by getting a pencil in the eye. So they had a rubber on either side.
So maybe Paul Schaefer's glasses were not protective after all.
Their glasses, they do nothing.
Did anybody else get weirded out when Paul Schaefer went full bald?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was like Mr. Clean's geeky uncle who had a windowless fan.
But talk about a charismatic band leader. I mean, even more than Doc Severinsen, Paul Schaefer was really a part of the show that you couldn't do the show without.
And have you ever really looked at his career? What a career that guy has had.
Yeah.
He has worked on he's worked on everything from albums to movies to TVs to, pretty much anything in media he's done.
Well, he was a big session guy. And whenever it seemed like it must have been written in the contract that anytime Letterman had a musical guest on, well, not anytime, but the majority of the time back in the earlier days, they would have the house band back him up in some way. And usually he was the one guy that was almost always playing along, and he would be rocking out looking really weird, but some bands later on wasn't like that, but it seemed to be.
Paul Schaefer's one of those guys you'd rather listen to than watch.
Right.
Although he did have a unique spot in television history. In 1979, Paul Schaefer was the first guy to drop an F-bomb on Saturday Night Live.
Really?
Yep.
I thought it was Charles Rocket.
Nope.
What was the situation?
I thought it was Charles Grodin.
Let's see.
Who had a show too.
It was after the series cancellation in 79.
Huh. That's kind of wacky.
Yeah, I don't know if because I remember Charles Rocket was famous for saying it in anger and getting in trouble for it.
Yeah, because it was at the end of the show, and they had just done a JR skit, and he had played JR, and he got shot in the skit. And at the end of the show, he was like, "I just want to know who fucking shot me."
Yeah.
I don't remember Paul Schaefer saying it though.
Yeah, and apparently that skit was in 1980 and 1981, so 2 years earlier. Paul Schaefer dropped an F-bomb.
Huh, interesting.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Proud sponsor of 40 Going on 14.
Give us a call, Wikipedia. We'll do it.
Yep.
All right.
As long as you don't have to work with Snowden. Oh, wait, that's WikiLeaks. Sorry.
Not all wikis are the same.
It says you.
So, Jay Leno now.
Yeah, Jay Leno.
I remember there being a big hoo-ha.
He's got a big hoo-ha?
He is a big hoo-ha.
Oh.
Yeah. If you look at his chin in the right way, it looks like a big hoo-ha.
I know there's a lot of people that hate on Jay Leno, and
they are correct.
Two things I will say in his defense.
Okay.
I mean, he may not be cutting edge and everything, but he is funny.
I agree.
And I mean, he used to be very, very funny back before he became a corporate guy working for the Tonight Show and everything. Like, if you watch some of his early stand-up, just really funny stuff and very, I mean, almost edgy, not quite like a Lenny Bruce or anything. I mean, he wasn't that crazy, but
sure.
And then he completely whitewashed everything about himself when he went to the Tonight Show. But I mean, hell. You give me that much cash, and I will pretty much do whatever you want. So I can't blame the guy.
I don't know. I just, after years of watching him devolve further and further into stuff to make sure grandma laughs, he was the equivalent of like unflavored oatmeal after a while. And I found myself more embarrassed for him than laughing, especially as I got into watching the guy we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, I mean, Leno, I mean, it was kind of a shame to watch him almost neuter himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because he really, I mean, I'm serious. His early stand-up stuff, he was really funny.
Make grandma laugh?
Oh, yeah. The stuff he did was like pandering to the lowest common denominator of middle of the road.
Okay.
Yeah, because their target audience was, 40 and above.
See, that made made my brain, because I would stay up late night and watch, Benny Hill with my grandma. So
you also had a very strange grandma that we all loved.
True story.
Yes.
I don't hate on Leno. I used to watch Leno on there, and I enjoyed him. I didn't watch him, too much after he took over, but I liked what I saw, and I never had a problem with him. So I don't get all the hate, I guess.
I just think, how do you follow up Carson? That's the thing, is that you really can't. You can't really take all 30 years of Carson and be like, hey, here's a new guy. And, no matter what he does, it's not going to match up. It's not going to meet.
I think the biggest problem with Leno, honestly, is that he never wanted to put his own footprint on the show. He just wanted to take over a successful show and keep it going. And he never wanted to take any risks. He never wanted to do anything outside the box. All he ever wanted to do was just keep the gravy train going.
Yeah, and I think that's the key there, is he did not want to be edgy enough. He was afraid of losing sponsors, afraid of losing viewers. And the next guy had the opposite problem, much as I love him.
Let's go to him then. Are we done with Leno?
I'm done with him.
I'm done with Leno.
Conan O'Brien. Love the man to death. But I will reluctantly admit, his Tonight Show, while I loved it, I was not the target audience anymore. This is, if Jay Leno was making the average, not Mike's grandma laugh, Conan was scaring the crap out of her. Or just
confusing the crap out of her.
Or just confusing her, yes.
I don't understand what's going on.
Turn Jay Leno back on. He's like malted meal.
Where's the fat guy with the naked ladies?
I love Conan O'Brien. I unabashedly have the utmost respect, and I still think he's hilarious. And the guy is an amazing writer. And I remember watching the very first episode, and when Dan Rather or Brian Williams walks out and crushes a bunch of saltine crackers in his hands, threatening Conan O'Brien for trying to be on his network, I was sold right there. And I knew it was going to be a good show. And anytime it's on, if I have nothing else to do, I'll watch it. And it's still funny.
I was sold on Conan O'Brien after I'm not sure if it was on the Conan O'Brien show or when he took over, but the one where he knocks him and Andy get into a fight and they wind up falling in the pool. So
that's one of I think the best thing about that show are the skits that they do, or anything that they do off set, because honestly most of the stuff they do on set, like when they plant things in the audience and stuff like that to do things, those that kind of fall flat a lot. And he's not the greatest interviewer, because he doesn't know how to not try to steal the spotlight and make the funnies for everybody, because he just wants everybody to laugh all the time. Sure. But I think their strength is always in the stuff that they do off the set. Personally, I
will say he is nearly unparalleled in the art of the self-deprecating comedy.
Yes.
Yep, he is. Now, him on Tonight Show versus him and the whole thing that happened with Conan. He went to USA for a while?
Well, no, he's basically that's almost moving us to the second half of the show, because he had his own show, and then he got the Tonight Show when Jay Leno, basically the deal was that Jay Leno would get the slot after the Tonight Show and he'd continue to do late night TV. But if he wanted the Tonight Show back, he could get it. And that was in the contract, and no one thought he would ever be a big enough dick bag to exercise that option. And lo and behold, I honestly think that that's really where a lot of the hate came for Jay Leno when he decided, hey, my new talk show isn't doing so well, so let's kick Conan O'Brien out of his dream.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I don't want to leave that show. I want to go back.
Yeah.
And it led to one of my favorite lines that Conan ever said, and I can't remember. It was like 6 months or so after he had left the Tonight Show, and he was talking to one of his guests or something, and they said, and he talked about how America is so great. He's like you can if you can dream it, you can achieve it, and you can have it. He's like, and then he looked at the camera. He's like, unless Jay Leno has that same dream.
Oh yeah, I watched every one of his last Tonight shows, and he just straight did not give a fuck anymore.
Nope.
And that's a great person to stop giving a shit is him, because it's only gonna get awesome after that.
And like that whole tour he did when he was having like his little mini meltdown afterwards,
which made a great
beard and everything, and just went nuts.
Made a great documentary too about that whole thing.
And this is the second controversy, because when Johnny retired, Letterman thought he was getting the Tonight Show.
Yep. Well, there's another great movie about that too. It was made for TV, but it was still very well done. Yeah.
So, I mean, you say you don't get the hate for Jay Leno. I mean, there it is.
Okay, well.
A lot of people don't like him because he seems like he wants to act like he's the nice, friendly everyman. And he's not going to, he's like, I don't want to rock the boat and all that kind of stuff. But he has everybody in his staff go behind and fuck everything up for him, so he doesn't have to be the bad guy.
He's not gonna rock the boat, because he's just gonna grab you and chuck your ass off, and that really doesn't rock the boat much at all.
But he's gonna pay somebody to do it. Is what he never gets his own hands dirty.
Yeah,
he's too busy driving one of his 6,000 cars.
Yeah.
Who put the Charles Grodin show in there?
I just had to throw that in there because you guys seem to love him, and he had his own talk show briefly. So there you go. Merry Christmas.
Charles Grodin show was awesome. I wish they'd bring him back.
I think he should.
Have you seen him lately? I don't think he should be on television anymore.
He's right over there. He got him in my basement.
What?
They should have the new Charles Grodin show, and he should have. Oh damn it! I lost the name. Never mind. I fucked up my own.
Will Arnett is his co-host.
No.
Boy, I would burn that studio to the ground.
Grodin and Josh Groban would be his band leader, and it'd be the Grodin show
with Will Arnett
and Anne Bancroft.
Why is Anne Bancroft on there?
Oh no, I think we're ready for a break.
Yes. Yeah, I think. Well, and when we come back, we're going to talk about who's running the late night talk show world now, and what's happened since like the late '90s. As we do.
Yes, and we will be back soon. Da-da-da-da-da. We'll be back after these messages.
Yes.
All right, everybody, we are back to talk about late night now. So we're going 2000 up, though we talked a little bit beforehand about Conan on The Tonight Show and why Jay Leno was a dick and why Conan went to TBS.
Yeah, so did anyone besides me watch a whole lot of Conan on TBS?
Oh, yeah. I recorded it every night for a while.
Yeah, I watched it religiously for like the first 2 or 3 weeks when he did the new show. And I don't know. I think that my late night viewing has kind of changed. I don't know if this is the case for you guys, but it seems like late night TV used to be the way you participate in culture in some ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the internet.
Keep up with pop culture and so on.
Yeah. And it seems like the internet has kind of taken over that role. So frequently, if I'm consuming late night talk show TV stuff, it's through like next day clips on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And I definitely have kept up with Conan through that. Like a lot of the stuff he puts up on his Twitter or puts up on his Facebook fan page, whatever. I'll watch all those videos.
Yeah, I watch almost every clip they put on their Facebook page. Yeah.
That almost seems to be the way talk shows are distributed now, because they know.
Yeah, whether it's Jimmy Fallon or Conan, they just go viral.
Yeah, because they realize that so many people are cutting the cable and not going to, they're not going to watch CBS on a Saturday night or CBS on a Friday night anymore, because why would you put that on when you can go to Netflix and choose whatever the hell you want to see, or go to YouTube and look at some old stuff and that sort of thing. So they're jumping to taking the best parts of the shows and sending them to YouTube. And it works.
The thing is, like, things like Netflix and DVRs pretty much kind of signaled the death of late night talk shows as we knew them, because the purpose of them used to be people would watch them at night while they were in bed, getting ready to go to bed or whatever, and it was kind of like a wrap up of the day's events. And now it's like people watch them, 3:00 in the afternoon, when they're sitting at their desk at work when they're supposed to be working or something,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So it's completely changed the entire landscape of what a late night talk show is supposed to be.
Yeah, and it used to be. Oh, sorry, Joel.
I was going to say, and Jimmy Fallon is the king of the viral clip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta admit that I have changed my mind on Jimmy Fallon. I used to hate him, and I actually like him now as the host.
Which clip changed your mind?
It was kind of a combination of a bunch of them, but a lot of those music clips that he did, like the "All I Want for Christmas Is You" played on the kids' toys. And, that was, and then there was another one that he and the band, just all the videos that he and the band do. Pretty much.
You just love Questlove, that's all.
When he did the Sesame Street theme song.
Yeah, that one was really good. I mean, they're all gold. I mean, they're really good.
I mean, his band is The Roots.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That's a good get.
And I was talking in the first half of the show about someone who had that Jack Parr kind of quality where he makes everyone else who's on his show look better. That'd be Fallon.
Yeah, I was hoping that's who you were going to say, because that's one of the things that I did notice about him is that he's got that quality of he's funny, but he lets the guests be funnier.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a shit interviewer, but he covers it up with a lot of charisma and a lot of the ability to let them take the lead.
Yeah. And where else are you going to see some of the things, the lip sync battles?
Yeah.
You see Emma Stone.
Emma Stone is by far my favorite for several reasons. Amongst them being the lip sync battle. And when Steve-O was on, I think it was Steve-O was on there, and they were doing Shot Battleship.
They say Mike likes Emma Stone so much he went and saw Aloha.
No.
Well,
you don't like her that much?
I don't like her that. No.
And who was the one
Nobody
guy
likes that much.
who was the guy that was on there that rapped and was like really, really good?
Oh, that was Harry Potter.
Oh, that's right.
It
was
Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe
awesome.
doing
the alphabet song?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And the thing is, I after watching that, Katie's like, well, what does the original one sound like? So we went to like them doing it live. I have to say Daniel Radcliffe did it better. and what was I'm trying to remember what the other thing is. He does the lip sync battles are a regular thing. He does the games. He does the
he does a lot of Family Feud type stuff.
Yeah. Will Ferrell and Dave Grohl in the drum off.
No, Chad Smith.
Oh,
Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're twins.
Doing the drum off.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was. I mean, and that's the thing is like he lets them take over, and he also has that little bit of pushing the bizarreness, like when Harrison Ford pierced his ear for him. Did you see that one?
No.
Yeah, because Harrison Ford's there and he's piercing. He's got all the whole kit, and then he doesn't use the gun. He's got the gun there to pierce his ear with, but he's like, no. And he picks up that needle, and he's like waving it in front of his face, like, this is what we're going to do. And the whole time, Harrison Ford's tone was just like, stop being such a pussy. And he jams this needle through his ear and gives him this long, like 6-inch long purple feathered earring. And then Harrison Ford takes out his earring and puts the purple feather thing in his ear too, and then spoons Jimmy Fallon. And it's just...
Sounds about right.
Yeah, which also made me realize that Harrison Ford is still awesome. So
yeah. Did you ever see the clip, by the way, of David Blaine doing card magic in Harrison Ford's kitchen?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of my house.
Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel is, I mean, he's one of those guys that just kind of in the background, just silently doing his thing, not getting all the attention. But he's been doing it longer than any of these guys.
Yeah, he has. Ever since The Man Show.
No, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was with
right.
Adam Carolla. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing I know Jimmy Kimmel for is Sarah Silverman, and I've never been a fan of his.
He looks like he's trying to ignore a really bad fart all the time, though. He's got that look on his resting face is like that. Oh God, that smells bad.
Well, Guillermo never showers.
Wait, what were you trying to say, Josh?
I was going to say when he and Silverman were breaking up, and she did the music video for his show of "I'm fucking Matt Damon."
Yes.
And then he responded months later with "I'm fucking Ben Affleck" and shot a music video with him. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Are any of you guys a Craig Ferguson fan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I am now.
Oh, good. Yeah. Because I started watching, I've known of Craig Ferguson from long ago, but never really watched the show too much. Then for the stand-up show, I wound up watching him for his couple of stand-up routines that he did. And then I went back and started watching all of his late-night shows. That dude is weird.
But he is very funny.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's like that upstanding, like that. He reminds you of the teacher in high school who's, always got the tie tied up, always very strict and proper and that sort of thing. But when he goes off, he's just like no stopping him.
Yeah, there's one particular moment that sold me completely on Craig Ferguson. He decides that he is going to see exactly at what point the censors will step in. And he gets a pen and a big piece of paper and he starts to draw a penis. Very, very slowly to see at what point the censors are going to blur it out. When does it actually become something unacceptable?
I want to see that. That's funny.
Oh, it's awesome.
He did another thing, a whole opening monologue, 2.5 minutes of him talking about something that he's not allowed to talk about, where he was talking about adjusting his joint, adjusting his pants in public. And he's having this entire conversation without saying anything and being able to, the dare before the show was, can you talk for 2 minutes about something that you're not allowed to talk about on TV? And he tiptoes around the entire thing. Now, the other thing I really enjoy are his opening songs.
Oh, yeah.
With, first off, you got the big black dude. Then you got this little skinny white dude in the bondage gear. And the robots, what's the robot skeleton's name?
Jeff.
Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean,
My favorite part of Craig Ferguson is always was watching him flirt with the women that would come on his show.
Oh,
just
yes.
unabashedly flirting with them. And like there's an entire video on YouTube of just nothing but him and the women he's interviewing and just awkward silences as they're both just kind of staring at each other like all flirtatiously and like weirdly, and it's just really funny. And it's like nothing but 12 minutes of silence just about, but it's just really funny.
But he's got that goofy smile too.
Yeah, just the two of them like always just looking at each other just like like.
And then randomly, Secretary at the Puppet Horse comes out and dances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff right there. And he was on late enough at night that if you were up watching him, you were pretty slap happy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So he was playing to his audience.
Yeah.
And he's perfect for that.
And the openings with those puppets coming out. And did you see the one where he did Addicted to Love for the opening song?
No.
He does Addicted to Love, but it's him, the big black dude, the bondage guy, and this Mexican midget all come out, and they're wearing the black dresses, and they had their lips painted like twice as big on with lipstick, and Rosie O'Donnell is lip-syncing the song. And it is so weird because he does nothing through the entire thing except stand in the background, fake playing a guitar. But it is so disturbing because the midget looks like a young Hervé Villachez. And then the puppets have these huge lips on also. It's really just bizarre. But he does good interviews, but they're goofy.
Well, and for his 1000th show, it was the all puppet show.
Really?
Yes, he had a puppet crocodile named Wavy Rancheros hosting the show. So
He does seem kind of straight-laced until you actually watch, and then you realize exactly how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that looks awesome! It's Kristen Bell and Jason Segel.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah. Jason Segel has a Dracula puppet.
Yeah, they've got the Dracula puppet up here on the thumbnail, but I need to watch that. On the list.
Do we want to talk about The Daily Show? Do we treat that as a talk show?
We probably should, just because the whole we've got a rash of retirements going on right now, which is why this is topical. In addition to the aforementioned David Letterman, whose last show was kick ass.
Yeah, that top 10 was amazing.
Yeah, that's the best part of that show.
Yeah,
I love that the only person that he even really gave a crap about was Peyton Manning.
Well, and also, I'm not entirely sure from Jerry Seinfeld's reaction that Jerry knew what Julia Louis-Dreyfus was going to say.
Yeah. Either that or he's learned how to act finally.
Yeah, because in case you missed it, Jerry does like number 7 or number 8. And later in the top 10, Julia Louis-Dreyfus comes back with the topic was top 10 things I've always wanted to say to Dave. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus says, "Thanks, Dave, for allowing me to take part in yet another incredibly disappointing series finale." Oh. And they cut to Jerry Seinfeld, who does not look happy.
He's just like this, the whole what the fuck look on his face.
Yeah.
Well, she's not wrong.
Right?
So, I don't hate on the Seinfeld series finale, but that's a whole nother show.
In addition to the retirement of David Letterman, we've also got Stephen Colbert, and The Daily Show, Jon Stewart will be retiring from The Daily Show.
Yeah, and what is Jon Stewart doing? I just saw something on TV. Isn't he's starting like a thing for veterans to help them get into TV?
Really?
Yeah, he's starting some like a boot camp for veterans to learn about media and production and that sort of thing. Yeah, which is pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of his, but I still think that's a classy move.
I love Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. He's definitely like I know that it's going to depend somewhat on your perspective, whether you're because he claims to be a moderate, but let's face it, he's left of center.
Yeah.
So, or depending on where you sit, you may like or dislike that aspect of his comedy more. But the guy, he's been unafraid to go toe-to-toe with people he disagrees with. And I think by now they know that he's going to know their positions. So they'd better.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they invite him into Fox News to interview him, and they think he's just going to lay down and be a funny guy, and he just comes out with guns blazing and makes them all look foolish. And and from that point on, they're like, okay, well, I guess we got to take him seriously next time he comes over, because I mean they were trying to call him to task on different things that he'd gotten necessarily not necessarily wrong, but controversial things. And they said, well, don't you have a greater responsibility as a newscaster? And he's like, I'm not a newscaster. It's like my show is a comedy show. My lead-in is puppets making prank calls. And he's like, I shouldn't know more about these subjects than you guys. And then he just ripped them all apart.
Yeah.
I have no thoughts on him.
I love Jon Stewart and The Daily Show. I'm going to give the new version with Trevor Noah a chance, but I mean, considering all the correspondents are leaving at the same time, it's going to be a whole new reboot of the show.
Well, and let's face it, The Daily Show really was at its height with Jon Stewart, but he wasn't even the first.
No. Oh, no. He was, what?
I was watching.
Fourth, I think?
Yeah, sounds about right. I know I was watching The Daily Show before Jon Stewart took over.
Yeah, Craig Kilborn did it, and God, who was in between the two of them? There was somebody in between the two of them.
Anne Bancroft.
Anne Canfield.
And Margaret.
I've played this game before.
See, The Daily
Annie, get
Show.
your gun. Sorry.
Craig Kilborn. No, went from Craig Kilborn in '96 to Jon Stewart.
Oh, okay. I thought there was somebody in between. I'm thinking of The Soup. Is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, because
Kilborn was on that too.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Aisha Tyler was in between on this. Okay, yeah, never mind. All right.
Right. Completely different show.
Yes.
So, yeah, in addition to that, we've also got Stephen Colbert, who is retiring from his show and taking over The Late Show. So that's going to be different.
Who's taking the Colbert Report?
They better be named Colbert.
Right, exactly.
That's not going to make sense at all. Okay.
Yeah, that dead ended the conversation.
I'm sorry. I thought that was a funnier joke than it was. I had the Mike syndrome.
So I don't know what to expect out of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, because he's obviously on his own show doing this character, this hyper caricature of a uber patriotic right-wing American and satirizing them, which is really funny when somebody's grandma doesn't get it and
get all upset at something he says.
Or agrees with him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Now, I wonder how much of that character that he's built a lot of his career on is going to translate over. Or are we really going to be seeing Stephen Colbert as himself? We've seen bits of his personality as a geek start to shine through. He is world renowned as a Lord of the Rings Tolkien scholar.
Oh, my God.
And when he and Franco get in it.
No, I'm talking about when he's dressed up as Legolas.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and James Franco tried to challenge him twice. And the second time, it was a savage beatdown.
I mean, it was such a beatdown. Franco didn't even get his entire question out before he hadn't even pulled the trigger on the entire question before he was just slammed to the ground and shown the door. Right.
And he was laughing. He knew how soundly he'd been beat.
Yeah.
Was that which question was that one?
He started asking him about I don't. It was so fucking far into the Tolkien shit. I don't even know what he was talking about.
Was it in the book supposedly that's supposed to be after Lord of the Rings?
No, I think he was asking about the Valar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Colbert is like, you need to be more specific. Do you mean X, Y, or Z? And lists them all.
Yeah.
And then gets up. It's like, you don't come into this house. Yeah, by the end of it, he's yelling at him, and Franco's just cracking up. It's like, okay, you got me.
You come into my house.
Okay. Okay. Not a Tolkien scholar.
But, I mean, Stephen Colbert, the whole time he was on The Daily Show, I mean, he wasn't playing the Stephen Colbert character then, so
we've seen starting to see it a little bit, though. I mean, as a correspondent.
But, I mean, we've at least seen glimpses of his personality aside from that character.
So I'll be interested to see if he is Stephen Colbert as himself or how much of that personality is going to carry over into The Late Show.
I wish him well because, I mean, he's one of the few people that you just don't hear a negative thing about at all. He's supposed to be one of the nicest guys in all of celebritydom, so...
And there was a famous late-night three-way fight scene between Stephen Colbert, Jon Stewart, and Conan O'Brien.
Oh, I remember that.
I think it was on Conan's show.
Yeah,
and it was like 5 minutes, and it was hilarious.
Chasing each other through all the halls and stuff. I didn't even look that up. I haven't seen that in forever.
So apparently, all we really know about Trevor Noah, though, is he's from South Africa, and certain people don't like him.
Yeah, but he's pretty funny. I mean, I've seen him on a few episodes of QI because I like watching that show. It's a British show. And I mean, he's a pretty funny guy, pretty very intelligent, well spoken. Maybe not the best. I mean, the biggest offense to me is that he doesn't, like the whole thing that everybody was offended about, the comments he made. The problem for me was they just weren't funny. It's not that they were offensive; they just weren't funny. I said, I don't know. The end, I guess. I will let you know I'm done.
About him. I just looked him up though.
Well, I mean, he basically stuff he'd said on Twitter was dug up and thrown into his face. Stuff that was taken out of context. And sometimes you're right. It's just like if you can get away with being a little offensive because you're being funny, that's different. And if you're just being an offensive jerk and it's not funny, it's fallen flat and you've taken a risk for no reason.
Right, and that's kind of what some of that humor, it was just like very juvenile type of like, oh, this person's fat, let's make fun of him, kind of, And it wasn't even, there was not even anything clever or artsy or anything like that to it. It was just really just juvenile. And I like I said, I've seen him on a couple different shows, and I know that he's funnier than that. So it's like it's not like I'm reading Twitter readouts from somebody I went to high school with, and I'm like, oh, this guy's just half a retard, whatever, no big deal. I expect that out of him. I mean, this guy's supposedly a professional comedian, and I've seen him be funny. So you expect a little more out of him.
Well, and I think probably given where he's from, he probably had to push boundaries to get noticed.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it has gotten him some serious press, and it's gotten him. I mean, the path he's taken has gotten him to be leading the Daily Show. So can't really argue with that.
Nope.
I'm going to give him a shot.
Yeah, I am cautiously optimistic. We'll see what the show looks like with him.
Well, I mean, Jon Stewart has made no bones that he supports him.
Yeah,
he hasn't gone outright and just completely, jumped on the bandwagon and championed his cause. But he definitely went on the show and said, Trevor Noah's taken some heat and he doesn't deserve it. He's, just give him a shot. You'll find that you'll like him.
Right. Give him a chance to earn your trust and earn your respect.
Right.
Was the basic message.
Cool. All right. So, damn it, Joel.
What?
The magic hour?
We were supposed to talk about it earlier.
I think we avoided it on purpose.
Well,
Yeah, the Magic Hour, the Chevy Chase show, those were all shows that stunk.
They were shows.
They were definitely shows, and they were on TV.
but watching Magic Johnson try and be intelligent and interview people, oh no, Craig. He's just was terrible. It was so
it's hard
bad.
for a man that has a 200-word vocabulary to interview anyone.
Right.
And 50 of those words are just variations on
Nah.
Nice.
And the other 25 were all, basketball terms. So
I mean, the man is not smart. The man can play basketball like a maniac, but he's not smart.
yeah, it was bad. And I don't think I ever saw the Chevy Chase show, so I don't know why it bombed so hard. Was it just
He was just too awkward with people. I mean, because Chevy Chase is like, as a person, is like uncomfortable in his own skin, which is why he's just so unpleasant to be around. And just watching him try to like forge instant friendships with people that he didn't know how to do that with, and like build a quick rapport was just really awkward. I mean, one of his best friends in the world is Goldie Hawn, and he had her on his first show, and he couldn't even make that likable. Like the two of them talking to each other, like this is one of your best friends.
Yeah.
All right. So, one of the things that we're trying to step into a new transition here is, Josh, what I forgot what I called it. This is called...
You called it a segment.
A segment.
The problem.
Fuck.
He's like, we don't want to. Like,
We got a new thing coming, and I don't know what it is. But I started it.
Fumble through. And what do you
And I'm going to make sure it goes to the end. No, it's
Take your time.
Remake roundup, maybe?
remake roundup. Let's call it that. So what we're going to try and start doing is looking at remakes that are announced each week. And we're going to start it out with the announcement of 2 remakes that are dubious at best. They're going to be remaking Big Trouble in Little China with The Rock as Jack Burton.
Well, I mean, they're obviously taking it a different direction. I like Dwayne Johnson. It's one of those movies that is nearly sacred to me, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
It all depends on are they going to be more in the direction of Fast and Furious, or are they going to be more in the direction of Doom?
That's the thing. Well, I mean, I think they could pull it off if they play it self-aware. If there's a little bit of self-awareness in it.
A little bit of tongue-in-cheekness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also weird because we talked a lot about Big Trouble in Little China when we did the Kurt Russell show. And the key about that is that he wasn't the hero. He was the goofy American sidekick to the Kung Fu hero. I can't see The Rock as goofy sidekick. He's hero material. So I don't know. Usually I'm bullish on stuff like this. I'm like, give it a chance. Let's see. I have my reservations about this one.
But I will say this in his defense. His ego is not so big because you can't have a big ego in the WWE because there's always a point in every single match where you're going to be getting your ass beat by somebody.
Yeah.
No,
so he's willing to be the guy on the end as long as he comes out on top by the end of whatever it is. So
yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think that's the only redemption this movie may have is the fact that he can play the guy who doesn't know what's going on, which is, like we had said before, is what Kurt Russell plays. Jack Burton is the dude who's just along for the ride. He has no idea about any of this stuff. And it's all the other, the rest of the guys that are helping along with him. He's just the guy that we identify with.
I mean, surely they're going to have a scene where he tries to use his massive muscle to do something to like low pan, and it doesn't work, and going to make a big deal out of,
Now,
so.
Well, maybe it'll have to do with who they get for his co-star, though. Who's going to play the other side of it?
yeah,
It's going to be Will Arnett.
Who's going to play? Who's going to play? Lacey.
Not the Kim.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who would it be.
Yeah,
Zoe Deschanel.
Ooh, well, I don't know. Maybe.
Kim Cattrall role. There we go.
I don't know. But the second movie of dubious honor is Disney has announced that they are going to be remaking Sister Act because apparently somebody somewhere sent a letter, not an email.
Yeah, Colbert.
Yeah,
That's who did.
I haven't done anything. I'm sitting here on the
Make
crap.
another
I'm playing.
Sister Act movie.
I'm sitting on the shitter playing my mandolin.
What?
Wait, what?
Man, no, hammered dulcimer. That's it.
Oh, that's much better.
There was an interview years ago. I remember Whoopi Goldberg. They like toured her home, and she has a hammered dulcimer in her bathroom. So she's like, so when she's crapping, she's like, I just sit sideways and I play the dulcimer with the hammers.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I got a feeling you're fucking with us.
Now, while I'm saying that you're not wrong in that feeling, but I do recall that.
All right.
So those are the two, Big Trouble in Little China and Sister Act.
Well, that new segment went flawlessly.
Flawlessly.
Just like we practiced it in rehearsal.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, we'll be returning as new things are released, announced as remakes to this topic from time to time before we ask the question. What do we have on tap for next week, gentlemen?
Well, we're going without Joel next week, unfortunately. Yes. He's going to be incapacitated. I think they're locking him away for, 72 hours? Is that what they said?
Yes.
It's community service for Stone Snagglepuss.
What? Oh, that didn't happen even.
I heard he was getting his lower intestine removed.
The three of us are going to take on the topic of MMOs, RPGs, online role-playing games, and things of that ilk.
Yeah, so we'll be looking all the way back from the text-based muds and mushes of the early days of the internet through World of Warcraft, and Pat and Mike and I are going to play some Guild Wars 2, and we're going to talk about how it's changed from the first time we played those sorts of games back in the early 90s.
Yeah, and if things go flawlessly, as new things tend to go with us,
yes,
we may have video of the three of us starting to play Guild Wars, which, if it's anything like Josh and I playing Saints Row 3, National
it will
Guard
sound
will
amazing.
Called in. It should sound, it sounds awesome. We'll just describe everything that happened.
So be prepared to listen to a full hour's worth of nothing but cursing at the connections and wishing we could figure out what the problem is, and so on and so forth.
Good radio.
Yes. So
that'll be in the behind-the-scenes footage.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to listen to some of our previous shows, you can always find our archives at iTunes, Blueberry, Stitcher, and TalkShoe, and other fine podcasting directories. And if you'd like to give us a call, talk about some late-night TV moments we may have missed, wonder what we were talking about when we were talking about the axe thrower on Johnny Carson, that sort of thing, you can give us a call at 708-NOW-RAP.
708-669-9727.
Nice.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be testing a Bluetooth connection at a Nebraska Furniture Mart or an IKEA on Saturdays at noon, tune in on Geek Life Radio and share it with the people around you.
You know what? You can all kiss my ass. I don't wind up in these places on purpose. I just get told where we're going that day.
So do I even. Court, maybe. That's where I'm going.
I take full responsibility for what I did.
You should.
Okay. It is your fault.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
You are now leading the world of Musings of a Geek Podcast Network. Stay geeky, my friends.
Boy, are my hemorrhoids bad.
Why, Johnny? What happened?
I shoved a red-hot poker up my ass.
I'm a
Johnny, we've talked about this.
I just can't help it. I don't know where the hell I'm going with
If your
this.
hemorrhoids flare up, Preparation H.
Get it nice and red hot now.
Now available at Walgreens, Target, and all other fine pharmacies.
Here's
Timmy, you little scamp.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know. We're riffing off each other.
Let's never do that again.
Let's do that all the time.